Done. All right. Let me confirm that.
Yeah, we are live. I can see ourselves in YouTube.
Wow, wow, wow. Oh, I can get the notification now.
Yeah, we are
Great.
live, Victor. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, welcome everyone. This is open. This is OJP Connect. Our very first event happening ever since the history of OJP, the OpenJ Proxy. So this have never happened before. We thought it wise to come up with this event that will kind of give us the enabling environment to not just develop OJP, but also have a means, a medium whereby we can always come together to kind of share our views, kind of say what we are doing, kind of give our contributions, the futures, the improvements, the progress, the challenges, and all of that that is all involved in the project. So it's a thing of joy that we are here today. And today being our very first event, if you might be wondering what are we going to be doing today, today is all about OpenJ Proxy and the future of OpenJ Proxy. In our midst, we have our very own dear person in the name, Mr. Rogero Robati. I truly appreciate you for coming up with this ideology and for making OJP not just a dream, but a real stuff that people can actually use. So thank you very much, sir. It's nice to have you in this event on this very opening day of OJP Connect. So at this point, without taking much of our time, I will gladly welcome you to kick off the event. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon in some parts of the world for whoever is watching outside Europe, or good very late evening if you're in Asia. But first of all, Victor, congratulations to you. Just to make clear, like when Victor says that we came up with this idea, it's more like Victor came up with this idea. So brilliant idea. I think it's amazing how a community like the OJP community can have these contributions like yourself, Victor, in relation to planning this event, this biweekly event, and come up with this idea of having a frequent live stream to connect with our developers, to the people that are enthusiasts about the OJP technology, people that want to learn about it, want to chat about it, to be more in contact with us, right? With the people that are more closely involved with the development and advertising and promoting of OJP. So thank to you. I think it's an amazing initiative. Congratulations for that. We are very grateful for your idea of bringing it to life, and not just for the idea, for the execution, right? We are here today thanks to you. And I'm happy to
Thank you
be
so
here
much.
to be the first attendee of the OJP Connect.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to have you, sir. Yeah, it's glad to have you in the house. Um, without wasting much of our time, I think we might go ahead and kick off. I guess people will be joining soon. We kind of did our best in creating awareness. I'm hopeful that as the event goes, more and more people is going to join, hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure. Sure. I think we got to kick off. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the subject today is the future of OJP, right? So today I was thinking, Victor, does that mean, right? And I could come up with two futures for OJP, right? The short term and the long term. So, but before we talk about that, I think we can start with the vision. What is the vision of OJP? And the vision was to provide something that didn't exist in the market. And to place OJP, you need to imagine that before these microservices and all serverless applications and event-driven applications that we can elastic scale in uh, stateless applications, we didn't need much of a database proxy. It was rare the occasions where you would need a database proxy. So with the advent of microservices, serverless, lambdas, and services that can scale elastically, and in one moment you might have 5 instances of your service, in the other moment you might have 20. So how do you manage database connections? Because we all want to use connection pools, right? Because they're efficient, they're proven to be good, it's a good practice. But how do we do that if we don't know how many instances we have running at one given time? And that's an extreme scenario, right? It's for microservices that scale a lot, but not just for that. Like even for the ones that don't scale a lot, how can we have the very best number of connections to the database? Because we know that the database cannot scale elastically like a stateless application, because a database is a stateful application. So if you want to scale a database, you need time, you need to move data. It's not as fast as scaling up your app. So with the advent of microservices and lambdas came the need for database proxies. And we see many of them appearing, like the AWS database proxy or Aurora proxy. And we see like things like PG Bouncer, Proxy SQL, Cman from Oracle. Every provider basically has a database proxy. What was the problem with that? Everyone has their own database proxy. There was no single database proxy that could serve many databases in many clouds. So if you work with AWS, you have the AWS proxy, but it only works and it was only deployed in AWS. If you move to another cloud, you don't have it anymore. And it always bothered me that you end up binding yourself to one technology or to one provider. On the other hand, you could use, like, if you use Postgres, for example, you could use PG Bouncer, right, or PG Pool 2 as your proxy. But again, it's one proxy for one database because it uses the wire protocol for that database. And you couldn't use a single technology for multiple databases. So the central vision of OJP is to deliver a single database proxy that can be used in any cloud for any database that supports JDBC specifications, which is basically any database, right? If you are a database, you probably support JDBC specification. So OJP is the fusion of well-established technologies. We basically start with the JDBC, right? We draw the line at the JDBC and not at the wire protocol, so we can support multiple databases. And we also deliver a Type 3 JDBC driver that we built that allows us to deliver OJP without having to have a load balancer in front of the proxy. So that's where OJP sits. That's why we created OJP, because we didn't have a solution that would deliver that. So OJP allows us to do intelligent management of connections, centralized and in an agnostic manner. So agnostic to the database, agnostic to cloud, and agnostic to languages, something that is sometimes we don't mention enough. Because OJP operates with the gRPC protocol, nothing forbids OJP from producing clients for Python, for C#, for other languages. And it is in our plans for the future, and that comes one of the pieces of the future of OJP, that in the medium future, or medium to far future, we're going to have clients to OJP that are not Java clients, that are C#, Python, Ruby, Golang, many other languages. Any language basically that supports gRPC protocol can support OJP. we would have to implement a client the same way we implemented the JDBC driver that we use as a client for Java. We would have to have a similar client for these other languages. And now coming back to the subject, like the future of OJP. So the near future, where we are at the moment with OJP, we are currently at the version, if I'm not mistaken, 0.4.6 beta. And next month, we're going to be releasing the 0.5.0 beta version by next month, by end of next month, probably.
Wow. That's great. That's great.
And what we have already and what's coming up. So currently, we have already a very functional, very well-tested version that people are POCing, and some people are even considering putting already in production workloads. Of a proxy, we can do database proxying. We do the connection pool in the proxy. The main connection pool provider is HIC-RCP, the full one, but we also support the BCP, and you can implement your own connection pool, because we develop an SPI that you can develop your own connection pool or put another connection pool you like, C3PO, for example, or Tomcat, Apache connection pool, whatever you want to use. And you just need to implement that small interface that we design, build your own jar, and deploy it inside OJP. So it's very flexible already. The default is HIC-RCP, right? Because obviously it's well known as a trusted connection pool. Is the default connection pool for Spring Boot. So if you do use a Spring Boot, you would be using the same connection pool as you already use. Now, we already do that. We have already a very elaborated functionality like this low query segregation capability, which no other proxy has. If you're curious about it, we basically can measure which queries are slow and which queries are fast. And we divide the pool in two sections. So your slow queries don't take over the pool. That's the main goal of that. So we have all that in this beta version already. What's coming new in version 0.5.0 beta? Two big things. There is a few more things, some bug fixes and some improvements, but the two major things that are coming up is first caching. So we're going to allow caching in the proxy. So you're going to be able to say like, okay, for this query, that query, and that query, I want you to cache the results of these queries in the proxy. What that allows you to do is to remove pressure even more from the database, right? Let's say the very common example is a list of countries or a list of something that doesn't change often. You can cache that because it doesn't change often. So what will happen with the OJP, once you query the first time, it's going to cache in the proxy, and subsequent queries to that cache will take from the cache and not go to the database. So you end up saving requests to the database. You make it cheaper to operate the database, right? Potentially even allowing you to have a smaller instance of the database. That's a big thing that OJP tries to bring, that you probably, if you configure OJP correctly, you probably can run the same workload with a smaller instance of a database that you are currently using. Depends case to case, obviously, but considering that the protection that OJP infrastructure gives to your database, especially under load, you probably can have a smaller database instance, because you have the connection pool in front. It doesn't grow elastically, so you always know how many connections are hitting your database. And with this caching, there is extra protection. There is circuit breaker implemented into the proxy. So you have these protections all built in. Another thing, the second thing that's coming up in the next release is the capability of splitting reads and writes. So usually database setups are composed by a primary node and replica nodes, right? And there are solutions that allow you to balance this, but normally the solutions come with another thing in front of the proxy, right? The proxy doesn't do that by itself. you need some orchestrator that will work with the proxy, the database proxy, to do this splitting. Some proxies do this themselves, but usually you need extra effort on that. So we are going to be delivering that. What's going to happen is you're going to be able to configure multiple URLs for the database, and you're going to say like, okay, this is the primary one, and these 4 others are replicas. So all the writes will go to the primary, and all the reads will go to the replica ones. But not just that, we are implementing it in a smart way. For example, if a read is inside a transaction, it's still gonna go to the primary replica. Why is that? Because if you're inside a transaction, we don't really know what you're gonna do inside that transaction. So we cannot just say like, okay, go to a replica that may be a few seconds behind the primary. If you're inside a transaction and you want to update something based on that read. So if it's inside transactions, always go to the primary, okay? Only read-only queries goes to replicas. And that's all automatic. That's the brilliant thing about it. It's all, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to program it in your code.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow.
You like it, Victor? Huh?
Honestly, yeah, that's really great. Honestly, that's great.
Yeah, we have many people excited about it, expecting and anxious to test it. We are in the final steps now. We have a PR open. If people want to go and see how the code is structured, how the configuration is going to work, is going to look like. The PR is open at the moment. It's being reviewed, and we are in the process of getting ready to be merged to the main branch. Another thing that we do with this read-write splitting is that we're not gonna, if it's a store procedure, it goes to the primary as well. Or if you cannot identify what it is, if it's some SQL that you cannot identify, it goes to the primary. So it really separates only the reads, the safe reads that goes to the read replicas. Now, one cool thing that we implemented as well is a sticky period, a sticky window. So if in one connection to the database you do a write, you can configure a sticky period. What that is that you can configure it to stay in that database for, let's say, 5 seconds. Why do you want to do that? Let's say you wrote an order to the database and you close that transaction, is committed to the database. But just after that, in the same process, you want to read that order. If you go to read that from a replica, maybe that order is not in the replica yet. So what we implemented is this. You can configure these 5 seconds windows that if you do a write to that connection, it gets sticky to the primary database. So if you go and do a read just after the write, within the 5 seconds or whatever time frame you define, it will go to the primary replica as well. So you have consistency, right? So you can save your order and read it just after, and it's going to be in the database. So for those scenarios, I think it is a quite clever way to do this. So this is all coming in the next release. So that's very close to us. And after that, we are planning for the version 1.0.0 production ready and long-term support coming on September. So September, maximum October, we're going to be releasing our version 1.0.0. So it's the first production-ready version that we're going to be releasing. We've been producing OJP for a little longer than a year now. And we've been testing, listening to people. We've been acquiring knowledge, increasing in the baseline of tests. And we are reaching to the point where we are very confident to release the 1.0.0 version. So we're very excited for that. There won't be a lot of new features in the 1.0.0 version. We're gonna kind of freeze the features from the moment of 0.5.0 beta goes live to make sure we harden these features. First of all, Victor, there is a bit of echo there. I think you have the.
Yeah.
So,
That's great. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot coming up in OJP. Honestly, personally, I'm really excited about this, and the fact that it is database agnostic. That makes it great. Honestly, unlike the other ones we have in the market.
yeah, absolutely. Because if you think about it, like just alone this database agnostic thing, because sometimes people think like, oh, it's fine. Like if I need a database proxy and I use Postgres, I can use PG Bouncer, and that's fine. But then let's say your company grows, right, and you acquire a new company. That's very common. Companies merge, one acquire another, and then the other company uses MySQL or Oracle or SQL Server, and then you need another proxy, right? And then you end
Yeah,
up like
sure,
you
sure.
need to manage multiple technologies. I think one of the things we deliver is this simplicity. Once you learn OJP, that's your proxy. You don't need to learn other things. So your operations learn how to operate OJP, which is even in some senses is simpler than other proxies for a few reasons. It's Java centric, right? So it makes things easier for Java. So if your company is Java centric, even if you have multiple databases, it would be a compelling argument. So uh, for your infrastructure, and it would be made cheaper for the operations to learn and to maintain it, because it's just one technology. You don't need one proxy for each database or dealing with multiple proxies across different clouds, etc.
Yeah, sure. That's correct. That's correct. That's a whole lot. Truly, this is one of the reason I'm so much in love with the project, and I'm willing to give it my all to make sure that everything is not just running, but is also publicized. Like the people get to know what we are doing and all of that. So I'm really great and happy for this day. Um, Thank you so much for your insights and all of that. I know the program is still on, we're still moving, but so far it's been awesome. It's been awesome, and I'm really happy, honestly. Um, and at this point, if I may kind of want to like ask a bit of a question before we move
Yep,
on.
sure.
Yeah, I wanted to also know, like companies who are running heavily, they have a large project, but they are kind of tied in the monolithic side of it. They're not on the microservice side of it yet, but they have a very big project, a large one, and they kind of many of them will want to know, oh, how will OJP impact in our service, or is it basically for people who are running a large number of instances and microservices and the rest?
Very good question, Victor. It's very good question, because we always talk about microservices because many people are using microservices and Lambda, etc. But yeah, absolutely, there is many companies that are still have a legacy or older systems that are not microservices. They're monoliths. They're big applications. But even for those applications, you have some good benefits of OJP. We have a fitness assessment in our website. If you go to apologies. If you go to our website, there is a fit assessment. You answer not, I think it's 9 questions, and it tells you which parts of OJP are good for you. So it doesn't need to be only microservices. For more monolith applications, the benefits would be the same as we already mentioned, like you have only one proxy for multiple databases. But if in monolith applications, you surely gonna have at least 2 instances, right? 2 instances running. So instead of having the connections dividing between the 2 instances, you put this connection pool outside of your application. So it will manage the connections more efficiently than if you had 2 connection pools inside the application. Now, is the impact the same as microservices? No, the impact is smaller, right? So you wouldn't justify to put a proxy
Yeah.
just because of that. But there is other things that OJP does as well that you might be interested in. Like OJP has a fully integrated open telemetry observability. So it emits metrics, very rich metrics about the queries that are being run against the database, the times that these queries are taking to run, like how the connection pool is behaving, like how long it takes to acquire each connection. And these insights are very important if you want to do proper monitoring of your system. So if you want to do good monitoring of your system, you need this type of rich telemetry. We also emit tracing, so you can see the tracing. You can see how much time is being spent, in each query to the database, how much time is spent inside the proxy. So this level of rich telemetry for your observability is very important. So that's something you get if you use OJP. And in terms of what's coming up for intelligence, so you can still use this write versus read separation that we just talked about. You can use the caching that we are implementing at the moment. You can still use the slow query segregation functionality. The circuit breaker is there for you as well. Let's say you're under heavy pressure and eventually your database starts timing out, right? The circuit breaker on OJP will protect your database. So you're not going to be flowing things to the database without control. So you take advantage of a lot of things. I think the thing that differs the most to microservices is in microservices is more obvious the protection, the back pressure that the proxy gives, because you obviously control more the connections. So in a monolithic approach, you already have the connections more or less controlled, right? Like if you need 50 connections, you have two big instances, or 4 big instances. Let's make a different example. 4 big instances, 80 connections maximum to the database. You're going to put your connection pools to 20, 20, 20 probably, right? So it's not difficult to do that in monolith, but still using a proxy might be an advantage for you. The only thing is, obviously, you add a bit of latency on each query because it needs to go through the proxy before it hits the database. But if you consider all this functionality that it delivers, especially under pressure, which is when you need your architecture to be the most robust and reliable, I think there is a value there for OJP to be used with legacy applications as well.
Great. Wow, that's awesome. It's good to hear that. One more question, if I may add.
As many as you want.
Like people may want to ask, like people may want to ask, I kind of want to contribute to this project. How do I get started? How do I key in? Who do I meet? Is there any a kind of a doc or a written process I can kind of go through all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at it.
Yes, I'm there. Sorry for that. Sorry for the break.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Yes.
I think I went to share my screen and I clicked to exit the call. My bad there. I'll share my screen for
sorry
a second
about that.
here. No, all my fault. Let me just share my screen here and I'll show. Let me share the entire screen. Is easier. Please let me know when you can see it.
All right.
Is it visible?
Not yet, not yet.
I think you might need to allow it, Victor.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yes, I need to allow it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's up
Now,
now.
yeah, that's good. So we have the OJP repository here. So the org is OpenJ Proxy. The project is OJP, the main project where most of our code is. First thing you're gonna do, you're gonna start the project, right? That's the first thing you should do. But then if you wanna contribute to the project, we have for coding, you can read the contributing. There is a code of conduct here as well. So we are all nice people and we like to keep things nice to each other. So please adhere to the code of conduct. But under documents here, we have something we call uh, contributor badges. And this is a very cool thing we have. So you don't need to contribute only code. You can you can contribute many different things. Like Victor said, Victor holds already a few of these badges, right, Victor? And
Yeah, sure.
what we do with these badges is whenever you help the project in any way, you get these badges, right? There is levels of the badges. So you see it's like a little mountain. You can climb this mountain to become an OJP champion. So Victor is in his way to become a champion, right? Helping the project and being a
Wow,
big part
wow.
of it. He's collecting his badges. So the entry level badges are the easiest ones to collect. Whichever contribution you do to the project, you get the first level badge. So if you contribute a small piece of code, pull request, a small improvement on, let's say you reorganize a method or add a bit of Java doc where is needed, small contributions in code, you get that one. If you continue contributing code, you get the OJP developer. And the advanced level of that is the OJP core developer if you're contributing code for a long time. But we don't have only code. So we have the testing and quality lane, which is the green badges. So if you contribute testing or if you do testing and report bugs on your own, uh, on that lane, you can become an OJP quality advocate or even an OJP reliability engineer. Evangelism and community, so advocacy. So if you share about the OJP in your social networks with your friends, etc., you get the OJP advocate. If you continue to do that sustainably, you get the OJP evangelist. And for a longer time, you get the OJP community leader. Currently, we have one community leader, which is the Jeter, which is also he's also our OJP champion, our very first OJP champion.
Yes, yes.
Documentation, right? Many people maybe it's not for you, like because the two lanes are mostly code, right? Like it's testing or coding. And the third lane is evangelism, so it's about speaking about OJP. But some people don't like speaking or sharing their networks about the project. They would rather write about it. So that's very fine for us. It's very desirable for us. You can document better the system, like writing the readmes, the diagrams, the improving documentation, finding things that are incorrect in the documentation, etc., or writing articles, facts, tutorials, anything anything you want to write about. And if you do that for a sustained about amount of time, you can get the OJP knowledge builder. So I think this is a very cool way of splitting the responsibilities so people can use the best of their abilities to help the project. Because something that people don't realize is that in an open source project, many people think about coding as being the main thing of an open source project. And nowadays, especially with
Yeah,
AI and all that, coding is not the center of this anymore. So we need to focus more on these other areas like advertising, like how do we get the idea out, how we collect feedback efficiently from people that are using, how do we write about it, how we communicate with the people that want to use like this what we are doing right now here. So these things are very important, and we're very happy that we came up with this idea to give these badges because if you write the code, you get the commit, right? Your name is in the commit. But if you help the project in other ways, there was no way before of acknowledging it. And now we have this. This is our wall of fame, let's call it like that. So every person that got awarded is in this wall at this point. And you can see that there
Wow.
are many countries, many people from different places. So we're very happy with
Yes.
all the support we're receiving here. So the first place where you're gonna start contributing is come here, come to a repo, take a look, start reading, do your own testing, try to run OJP if you wish. Uh, Also join our Discord, right? Our Discord is where you see the things happening, like where we organize, for example, this live, we organize through Discord. So we get the ideas of what to do in there. And that's how we organize these kind of things. What features are coming up, like what events are we doing? So all that we do through Discord. And the documentation is supposed to be accessible, but obviously, if you find ways to make it even better and more direct, please do contribute, create PRs, improve how is it written, enrich the examples, etc., etc. So I think that's the best way to contribute, to come to our repository, come to our Discord, come to these live calls, ask questions, start playing around with OJP. That's the best way to help us. Give us feedback, good, bad, doesn't matter. We like all feedbacks because they all help us to make it better, to make OJP a better solution.
Oh wow, that's great. That's great. That's really awesome. Meaning there's something for everyone, and there's no limitation to what you can contribute to. You don't have to be a very technical person who must give the code and the rest of them. So in your capacity, you can you can always contribute at your own capacity, at your own level, and still get to the rank of being an OJP champion. Just like we have our very first OJP champion, Mr. Jita. That was great. That's great. I'm really, really, really happy for this project and the level we have gotten so far. It's really awesome. For anyone who wants to also contribute to the project, I think coming to this event is also one of the ways you can get conversant with the project. If I may contribute to what you already said, Mr. Rogerio, I think them coming on regularly on this event can also help shape their means of contribution. Can we say?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think in one, if you allow me, if we have a few more minutes, I think in the long term, like we talked a bit about where we are, where we're gonna be this year. What I feel for the next few years is that OJP growing adoption, right? Like once we launch the version 1.0.0, our focus will shift from functionality to adoption. So we're gonna shift from producing features too much to fixing whatever bugs we found after releasing. Hopefully, not many. Hopefully, our tests will be enough. But
Sure, sure.
whatever, there is always some edge cases that we need to fix, and hardening the solution and spreading it. So there will be a shift there. And in the very far future, what I hope and I envision for OJP is to even become an universal connection pool and proxy. Because as I said before, we can implement this for other languages, and we would like to implement it for other languages. As we grow as a company, as a project, we intend to produce clients for other languages. And considering that people using it will report bugs, will improve, we're going to produce the best proxy solution that has ever been produced, not just for Java, for any language then. So that's our goal. Our goal is
Wow.
to produce
Wow.
the very best solution, the very best proxy. And we could call it a database control plane, because it's not just a proxy anymore. We do a lot of things that are not just proxying requests anymore. It started as a proxy. I think we are walking towards what's called in many literature database control plane. We are surely a quality gate, so we can do many things in the middle before the request hits your database. I think there is a lot of power in that. There's a lot of possibilities. We're exploiting a lot of these possibilities yet, but we still don't know how many other possibilities we're going to find as the project grows and reaches more use cases and more people. So it's very exciting. It's still in the early days, even though the project has 1 year old. Still early days. We are keen to hear opinions. Like if you join the project now, is the best moment to make your ideas heard. I think it's much harder if you try to join, let's say, Tomcat now, and try to introduce your ideas now. Like I don't think Tomcat guys will say like, oh, we should re-implement Tomcat. Like I don't think so. No, we're not going to re-implement anything. But in OJP, if you come and say like, look, I think this functionality should be re-implemented because this, and that, like, and we can work on that. We are not bound to the decisions we've made so far. We are only bound to excellency, so we are bound to make the very best product we can possibly can, and that will come from feedback, will come from people using it, and we're keen to listen. We are already listening all the feedback we get, and we are keen to listen to your feedback if you're watching this video.
Yeah, sure. That's great. That's great. I'm really happy for this. More especially, I'm so happy for this very first event. I'm also looking forward to the second one. This very first one give me so much joy. I believe, regardless of the number of our viewers, I know that the upcoming section is gonna be awesome, and I believe with consistency, people will get to know what we are doing, and a lot of people will get to join this movement. And I think that's it. Today has been a very good progress. I'm really glad and also excited to have you in the house. Our founder is great. Thank you for this great ideology, and thank you for always being available to kind of share your view and lead the project as like regularly. You're always there. It's not really easy given all the time and commitment, work, family, and all of that. So honestly, you are doing great, sir. I must appreciate you. At this point,
Well,
I might not.
yeah, no,
Okay, go
just
ahead, sir.
to thank you again, yeah, Victor, for this initiative. Well done. I think this will be great. I think we're going to create a history of our project, a log history, because we start today. Today we lay the foundations, lay the vision where we want to go. And then the next videos will be more about what we are doing, like people's, I think we're going to have many inputs on this. Like, and I think you're going to create a timeline of how the project evolves. It's going to be really nice in a few years to look back into these videos and see like how it went from the beginning to later on. So thanks for creating this. Thanks for being here. Like your availability is always very welcome. And I'm looking forward to watch the next one.
Sure, 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 sure. It's gonna be great. Definitely, definitely. At this point, I would love to appreciate our viewers. Honestly, I would say thank you very much for those present. I can see your comments. Mr. Jita Rodriguez is there. We'll have FS Tanzani, sorry if I may pronounce wrongly, and a lot of others in the comments. Your presence truly matters to us. We do appreciate it. And at this point, we might be calling it a day. Except anyone have a question in the comment section, which I don't really see a question there. I must appreciate everyone, and it's gonna be, I promise, it's gonna be a super section in the upcoming one. It's gonna be a super section. The flyer will be ready soon, and key in and please make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. So whenever there is any update, you get to be the very first person that will get the notification. At this point, we might be calling it off. I don't know if Mr. Robert, you have something for us before we call it a day?
Nothing else. I think I spoke too much as always. But just please like, subscribe this video. Like this video, subscribe to our channel to get all these videos and other videos we make for the channel as well. And thanks again, Victor. It has been amazing, and thanks everybody that joined and the people that will watch it later. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Roberti. At this point, our viewers, we call it a day. And I will say goodbye from here at this point. See you again in our next section. All right. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, I think Victor is
Bye.
cutting a lot. Victor, I think we can close the call. Your video is cutting a lot. I'm not sure if mine is good, but if it is,
Thank
thanks very much,
you
Victor. I think
for
you can
being
close the call now.
here. Yeah. Sir.
Hello?